I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying.
I think many of us, especially in the Corso community, have seen the recent video of a trainer striking a dog during training, if that's what you want to call it. Won't name any names, but what I'm hearing from people when they call about the board and train is their concern for the safety of their dogs, which I can definitely understand. But at the same time, my response is always, my work is always spoke for myself.
Right.
My results speak for my work. And because someone makes a mistake doesn't mean I change the way I've always done things and my principles and my morals. So I welcome them to come out, visit, watch group training classes, things of that nature, if they want to feel more comfortable in trusting the process of a board and train. But one thing I can't do is change what I do in my board and train, because what I do gets the results that I get when I take in a dog, and you as well. But I know we've talked about there are trainers who speak against board and train, then there's trainers who speak for board and train. What do you think the difference is in the two? Because I know you do both.
I guess it's kind of what angle you're going to approach it. The dog world is a world of, you should look for people of integrity more. I would rather personally deal with a trainer that may lack a few skills but has integrity than the greatest trainer and I'm just another customer.
Right.
And I can tell you as a trainer, one thing we take pride in, we offer the 3 follow-ups after we send a dog home, but we deal with people
a
year, 2 years.
6
we take
months
questions,
yeah.
phone calls, because for us, we want people to be successful. It's not just about a number.
Right.
Another thing that I like about the board and train is we set a price for you before we ever start. And if the dog takes extra, that doesn't change your price.
That's right.
If I put it on me, I won't put it on anybody else. When I do a session and you're paying me per session, if I don't have character, I can make it as many sessions as I want it to be.
Absolutely.
I can take something that could have been done in 5 sessions and make it a 20-session thing. Like, if you're willing to keep paying me, I'm willing to keep working. And as a matter of fact, it would be better for me to have longevity with you.
Right.
But that's not what everybody does. I like the board and train. For one, you don't put a green dog with a green person, if you will, or an inexperienced dog with an inexperienced person.
Right.
Somebody needs to know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. So with the board and train, we can take a dog and give that dog a foundation where it at least knows its commands. Now all we have to do is bring the owner in and say, okay, you see your dog knows it. Now let us teach you how to do it.
And we know that's where the work starts.
And that's where the work starts.
When you bring in the owner.
Yes.
And hitting on that point, go back to the character type. When we take on a dog in a board and train versus an individual session, when you show up in 2 weeks, that dog has to have his stuff in order. Right. That means I have to
do my work
because I'm on a time frame. But what I love how we look at it is 2 weeks is a tentative date.
Yes.
Every dog's not gonna get it in 14 days. Some dogs gonna take 17, some gonna take 19, some might get it in 10.
Yes.
But it's not a phone call that's made at 13 days and say, well, they're not hitting where they need to be. And if you look at what I charge after 14 days, it's another $750 or, something along that line. That's the character behind what we do. At the same time, not to say trainers who do it by sessions don't have the same character. Because I know at one time I did both. I did individual sessions and I did board and train. And what I found out with the board and train is we moved further quicker, because some people, their need was instant. It wasn't I can't take 4 months down the line. I have these problems right now.
Yes.
Me and you taking in a dog, we could fix some problems in 4 or 5 days.
Yes.
That would have took some families 4 or 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it just gives them a different option. If your car's broke down, yeah, your uncle might be able to fix it, but it might sit up under the tree for
Yes.
2 months, where you can go to the Chevrolet dealership, they get you in, they pay it and get it done, and you move on. And that's what a lot of families need. They have a life.
Yes.
And when we can take in that dog, give them a foundation in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we do a 2 week and a 4 week, and then we can bring that entire family in. And if they're old enough, we can teach them the commands, we can teach them body placement, we can teach them how to function. And not only, the thing I hate about people's mentality when it comes to training is they think of it as just a command.
Yes.
A command.
I said you do it. It's that simple.
It's that simple, but a command, at the end of the day, you have to know how to apply that command to your everyday life. How do you apply a stay in your everyday life?
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah.
They say, well, Lamont, I want to know this, and this. I said, well, why? But don't they come with it? Well, yeah, they come with it, but how do you apply that to your everyday life? Well, I don't know. Well, that's why so many people stay with us so long, because it's a continuance of how to apply it to your everyday life. If I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking and I don't like dogs in my kitchen, I put that dog in a stay at the kitchen. That dog doesn't realize it's getting trained by that stay.
Yes.
But I know that's what ultimately I'm applying to my life when it comes to that command. So the board and train is definitely beneficial. Now, to touch on the first thing I said, we use a praise and reward.
Okay.
Different training methods. Take training methods 30 years ago, 25 years ago. When I entered it, they were harder. You're gonna do what I tell you to do, and you're gonna do it
Now.
period. And some of the repercussions of not doing it, some of the corrections were so much harder than they are now. And then you had people that said, hey, getting into the mental of the dog, to bond with that dog will give you everything that it could possibly give you if you reach that bonding side of things. Taking same as your kids. Yeah, I can beat my kids into doing something, but is it the best way?
In the long run, right?
Versus me loving them through it and teaching them through it. And that's the difference between the two. Like I said, this wasn't to touch on that video it was to simply encourage people to not turn away from a training method that works every day. It doesn't always work for everyone, but it works every day across the country, because there are still trainers that take pride in what they do, who they do it for, and they love the fact that they're able to work with a dog day in and day out and make that dog better for that family prior to it going back home.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that you can take one instance and it stops a family from doing what they need to do, because at the end of the day, if you need training and you don't get it, you're only hurting that dog and your family.
And let me say this, Lamont. This is the thing, to kind of deal with the issue that occurred. The dog would tell you what it was like.
Absolutely.
For example, you'll understand when I say this. How many dogs have we, the minute they stepped out of the car, it appeared as if they had been going through abuse, but the dog just wasn't mentally stable. Sometimes people expect for the dog to come back with some sense of normalcy that you didn't even drop them off with. You can't put that on the trainer. Right? The trainer's job, I always tell my people this. Sometimes you bring me a dog that needs therapy and not training. I spent 2 weeks of teaching your dog that it's really okay. No, I don't have the best sit, the best down, the best stay. They understand the concepts, but they're not where most of my dogs would normally be. But that's because your dog has an issue that takes therapy.
Right.
You know, so sometimes people have false expectations that it's going to take longer. But we normally communicate this throughout the 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, but with that being said, our 2-week board and train focuses on everyday people. In our first video we did, I remember saying, you asked me, when does training begin? And I said, training began the minute you picked up your puppy. Because when you get up and go to the restroom, your dog is watching you, you're training. If you feed at 6, you're training. Whatever you do, your dog is watching you. You don't have to intentionally be training, but you're training. We intentionally teach the dog things that you're going to use even when you don't know you're using it. You're going to get up and go to the restroom and you don't want to come. You're going to say, stay. Well, we help them understand what that means.
Right.
You don't have to pick up with your shoe and say, I said, get out of here. We've already taught them, stay right there, sit down right here, hold on a minute. We give them concepts that's going to just jive right into the everyday life. And now all you have to do is just a little work.
Right.
Versus if we do one-on-ones, it's going to take us 6 months to a year.
Easy. And it's going to be a lot more, it can be a lot more expensive that way.
Yes.
Especially if you aren't doing your work.
Exactly.
If a trainer shows up every week and you said, man, I had a hard week.
I'd be busy.
I'd be busy. The kids, they had games and they, I had to go up to the school and I was working late. I didn't get a chance to really put the work in. Guess what? That dog is in the same place it was last week, if not worse, because he's fell back into the routine of.
And then they call and say, he's eating up my dresser. He's eating up my stairs. He pulled off the side of my couch. Yeah, he's an ornament in your house. He's not getting the necessary attention. If you give that dog something to do, he'll treat the house the same way you do. That's a place where I go rest.
Right. Right.
You know, so.
The bottom line is training is important. No matter how you decide to do it, but at the same time, in deciding how to do it, it can't be an emotional decision of things like, I seen that video and oh no, I'm nervous. I don't know if I want to drop my baby off. A decision on training has to be based off of a few things. Number one, your need.
Yeah. 2,
doing your research on the people that you're actually thinking about taking them to. There's great trainers all over the country.
Yes.
And I tell people this, I don't care if you get me to train them. I care that you get a good trainer to train them and train you, because there's no situation where you can send a dog to be trained, but you don't need no training. Because if you didn't need no training, that dog would be in a good situation.
That's right.
Because you would have known what to do. So taking on a board and train, if that trainer won't take the time out after you zell him, give him cash app him, give him a check or a PayPal payment, and take the time out to say, now it's your turn. He's done. He got his basics and his advance. It's your turn.
Right.
Now, as an owner, a responsible owner, you have to put on your boots and say, let's get it. It's my time to learn the process that's going to keep me in tune with this dog for the next 10 years
Yes.
because they constantly change.
Yes.
And having a trainer that don't mind holding you accountable, because they'll tell you, you and I both know when they come here, it ain't always easy. It's always fun,
Yeah.
but it ain't always easy, because we gonna make sure that you know what you need to know, and we gonna hold you accountable. You know, and it might be a little fussing going on.
Yes.
You know, especially from me, a little fussing going on.
Yeah.
You know, I might tell the husband, you know, hey, I'm gonna say something to your wife. Don't ear hold me, but I need to say this to her. Mm-hmm. And he say, I've been saying it to her.
Yeah. Yeah. Please do.
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do. But that's where we're at in this world that we live in. More people are buying dogs. More people are taking on the responsibility of having one in their family. Unfortunately, some people choose a breed that they want that breed to be something it's not. They want to ignore what that breed is bred for and what it's going to come with. Anybody stepping into getting a Corso has to understand there is always a possibility that it's a Corso.
Cannot buy Corsos for eye candy.
No, it's not going to necessarily behave like a golden retriever. And there's going to be some situations where you say no, he's going to say make me. And you can't throw up your hands and say, oh my God.
And you can't say it's the breeder's fault either.
Every time.
Yes. Now,
Every time.
I can't tell you how many times bad habits are created by owners.
That's right. That's
Yes.
right. But that's why good trainers are here to help. And we're not perfect. We mess up at times. There's going to be situations that happen. To me, as a trainer, you stand up, you acknowledge it, you do your damnedest to fix it, and you move on. Because that, to me, that states what kind of character you have.
Yeah.
You know, and the pride that you take in not only with your training, with the families that you know, as a trainer, we affect families on a weekly basis. You know, good and bad, unfortunately, for some people. So.
Yeah. I say this, you and I, you know, we family men. We breed and train, and we get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes along with this breed, and we care a lot about this breed. You know, we talk about all the time how we have to, the struggle of what do we breed and not breed to try to preserve the breed and yet be popular. And these are things that I don't think a lot of people consider. By us training, it helps us decide what to breed and what not to breed. What's going to go home and be a good dog, what fits this and what doesn't fit that. And with that being said, what does that mean to people that want to board and train? Our philosophy is we don't care where you got the dog from. We don't want these dogs to get a bad name.
And become a liability.
There you go.
And that's the key to, I know trainers that won't train dogs that they didn't come from them.
Yes.
Or someone outside that bought dogs from them that have bred that are off of their lines. They won't touch other dogs. We take them from anywhere. We're here to train. We're not here to pick and choose where you got the dog from and you know, that kind of stuff. We take some people's trash and make it treasure.
Yeah, many times, many
you know?
times.
But that's because we take pride in what we do.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, if you have any questions about the board and train or training in general, feel free to reach out to me and James.
Come visit if you can.
Come visit. We do group trainings on Sundays. We have dogs in those group trainings that came from our board and train. We have dogs in there that didn't come from our board and train, that were trained by other trainers. You're more than welcome to. There'll be some dates put up. It'll be here in location in Midlothian. And we'll put that information out for the public so you can call But anytime, you're more than welcome to inbox either one of us. He's at KP Corsos. His name is James Curvin. I'm Lamont Morgan. I'm at La Potenza, Cane Corso. And we're here to help if you need us to. And feel free to reach out any way that you choose to, whether it's inbox or phone call, either way.
Yes.